Zompiercer is an early access survival game that was developed and published by Demon on April 3, 2020. The game can be played as a single player only, and you can buy it for $20 on Steam. Explore a zombie apocalyptic world filled with dangerous, uniquely mutated zombies craving your flesh. Travel by train, which has become a heaven for you. Equip living wagons and create new equipment to survive. My name is ICOnlyBlue and I'm a survival game expert. I do educational survival reviews by analyzing and explaining in depth game mechanics and ideologies. In order to make this review, I had to make all of the craftables, build and utilize all of the structures to the best of my abilities, all within 21 hours. Videos like this take up to 2 weeks to create, so I would much appreciate if you follow all of my social media and join my live streams where I do my playthroughs. With no more delays, let's begin with the menu settings. Start game creates a new world without a confirmation window. Load allows you to go back to 5 of your previous saves without a window for your different playthroughs. Under options, you have audio with minimal sliders and an option to enable your character voice acting, video with no graphical settings, control with bare minimum keybinds, and finally mouse with mouse sensitivity. Even for an early access, after a year of development, you will expect way more audio sliders, at least the basic graphical settings, customizable hotbars, and few toggles for convenience. Overall, a 2 out of 10 menu settings. The story begins with an introduction text, and few seconds later a loud siren with multiple gunshots woke you up, forcing you to grab your essentials and escape the area.
I need to grab my shoes, my backpack, and find some kind of weapon.
Gotcha. The game is set in 2035, 9 months after the first report of the infection. Although we don't know the origin of the virus, we do know that the infection was spreading slow, which that gave them time to get together and recapture some of the settlements. Survivors organized militias for scavenging supplies in the ruined cities and also managed to repair the railway. You were hired as an assistant driver in one of the leading survivor bases, which is responsible to transfer supplies in your region. You will need to kill the infected and survive in order to find the survivors that just escaped from the attack. Other than the introduction text, few voiceover lines, and a handful notes, nothing else add value into the story. Approaching the train station, he mentioned Annie and Bob, which I wish I had the opportunity to create a connection with them before the attack.
Man, Bob, damn it. I hope you two got out before the zombies arrived.
Smaller stories while scavenging different locations could be added, which will make the world more realistic and impactful. Few examples could be finding a doll that belongs to a small girl that you need to find and rescue in a different zone. Another one could be to lead the zombies into a fire pit because the church believes that this is the only way to cure the evil. Unfortunately, with the current available content, I rate the story 3 out of 10. The game begins with sirens and gunshots waking you up, forcing you to find a weapon in order to escape the infected attack. You need to find gas tanks in different lootable cars and refill them in the near gas station. The final goal is to get as many resources from around as you can and drive your train to your next destination. On the top left you have your basic stats, which you have to maintain at all time. 6 hotbars that you cannot change their keybind, and their position on the screen is something that I would never recommend. Comparing to other survival games like Ark, Rust, Myst Survival, and 7 Days to Die, their positioning follows the same pattern for a reason. Over the years, players used to look at certain locations for information, so it is highly recommended to follow this pattern. Consistency is the most critical thing, which often gets overlooked by developers. By pressing tab, you open your backpack, and hovering over an item you can see more information. Your weight can be upgraded by leveling up your character stats, and you can access it by pressing G. Helmet, backpack, armor, and shoes is the only available equipment, and by leveling your health, stamina, strength, and stealth can make your character stronger. You earn experience by killing zombies only, and as for now, there are no available perks. There are very very few zombie variations, and bosses will eventually make it into the game. The developer is working on new zombie textures, which is the latest news that we have on Steam. He made sure to let us know in a funny way where few of those bosses will be located.
There was supposed to be a zombie boss, but the developer decided to do a character redesign. So it's just a bunch of zombies.
The core mechanics of the game is to loot around for resources, build and customize your train, and explore all of the different locations until you find the other survivors. As for now, there is no end to the story, and within 10 to 15 hours, you will reach the end of the current content. By pressing B, you open your building tab that you will need to use in order to customize the train to your needs. Currently, you can make walls, roofs, doors, windows, stairs, and lights, but it is safe to assume that eventually more structures will make it into the game. The snapping points were extremely responsive, but rotating different objects is very limited. This is how my train looks after utilizing all of the available structures. In order to advance your craftables, you need to craft the 3 starting tools and the 2 workbenches using the trained workbench. By placing the 2 workbenches and using the right tool to build them, we start our crafting progression. Under carpentry, you can make a baseball bat that you can modify, a dagger that does 10 times more damage if you stealth strike, arrows that are extremely expensive, a longbow that you will hardly use, 2 types of bed for skipping the night and recovering your energy, 3 storages, few decoration furnitures, 2 planters for growing potatoes only, 2 types of lamps, an electrical oven for purifying water and boiling potatoes, a tailor's table for sewing, a backpack that you get for free by the game, a helmet that you can modify and add a light that is provided by the game as well, 1 armor and 2 shoes for running faster, a pharmacist table for making only bandages, and finally a gramophone for playing music. Under metal workbench, you can make a hammer and a wrench for building, steel bars for making furniture, the same flashlight that was given by the game at the beginning, another 2 types of tables, 2 types of fireplace for burning broken weapons and other useless items, all of the electrical and mechanical parts for crafting the other workbenches, and finally a melting furnace for making metal ingots, glass, and bottles. These are all of your available craftables, which most of them are useless since you can find them by just looting. Cooking is useless since you get infinite supplies. Collecting water to make your own water didn't work for me. I had way more medical supplies than needed, and crafting armor was pretty much useless. The durability was dropping too fast, and for the most part I was running naked since there was no indicator telling me that my armor was broken. What we currently see is a working system that has the potential to expand and advance greatly. It needs someone to invest a lot of time developing the crafting and gathering, but we have a solid foundation. Although the movement of the character was really good, I wish running forward was the same speed as running sideways. Attacking enemies felt satisfying. Blowing heads and chopping body parts never got old. Enemy animation combined with your dodge made the entire combat a really good starting point. It definitely needs a lot of work, but I can already tell that the combat will be the strongest point of the game. As the game develops, we will get to see more advanced recipes, and I will assume a deeper farming system. Currently we can multiply only potatoes, but it's safe to assume more crops will make it into the game. All of this is an assumption based on what we currently have. No developer will spend their time creating a farming system if they are not planning to expand it later. Killing animals for meat, converting zombie meat into fertilizer, and other creative ideas can always add more value into the game. Once again, a great start, but it is too early in development. The game seems very optimized, and I had no issues playing and enjoying the game. Since there is no graphical settings other than the few presets, it is hard to recommend players to play it or not. I have a high-end PC and I don't know whether your PC can handle it. At the end of the last update, it is noted that in the next updates the game will be more optimized. That update was on January, and on February players complained about the optimization in the tunnels, which is the last available location. If this is your biggest worry, I will wait for the next updates. Overall, a 4 out of 10 gameplay. Graphically, the game doesn't look that bad, realistic and immersive with all of the different weather effects. Not having customizable anti-aliasing can cause weird visual errors such as those. Yikes, the flickering look, the anti-aliasing, man. The constant shadow flickering combined with the low view distance making objects popping didn't make me enjoy the game as much as I wanted to. I truly love the art style. The train looked amazing, all of the houses, the broken cars, the nearby terrain, and pretty much everything in the game had a lot of details. But the fact that the graphical settings are not implemented into the game yet showed the negative effects. Overall, a 7 out of 10 for graphics. The game is divided by different zones with predetermined loot locations. You start by escaping your base, you visit a fishing village, you refuel by a gas station, you find another one with way less resources, you park inside a warehouse which is next to a ghost city, and finally you enter the tunnels, which is your last destination. You don't have the option to steer into a different direction, neither there is anything in between each point of interest. What the game currently has is extremely enjoyable to explore, and each location has no similarities between each other. There is no doubt that behind this game there is a very intelligent developer that knows exactly what he is doing. My expectations is to have smaller points of interest around the map that will make the traveling and exploration even more enjoyable. Caves for mining, gas stations for refueling, forest camps, and many more. Only time will tell. Overall, a 6 out of 10 for exploration. Since the menu music was too distorted for me and the game music was played through a gramophone, I decided to use my own for this review. All I wanted was a soft music in the background just to break the monotony. As for the rest of the sound effects, I struggled to find a fine balance since there is no sliders to separate the audios. If I increased the audio because the footsteps was too low, then shooting zombies was becoming extremely loud. In a perfect world where everything is balanced, this is how they sound. Although all of the sound effects were perfect, the unbalanced audios combined with no in-game music will put the rating extremely low. Overall, a 3 out of 10 sounds. An early access title comes with a lot of bugs, issues, and missing features. Since Zompiercer doesn't have a lot of content and the playthrough lasted only 20 hours, I wasn't able to find as many as I usually do. So here is a list of some of them that I found while streaming. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh. Did it again. Because I don't have space. So it vanished. Wait, what's going on? Huh? I broke the game. I crashed. When it comes to the replayability of the game, there is nothing else left behind. If you explored the 6 available locations, if you crafted all of the craftables and customized your train, then you just need to wait for more content. You can zone in and out and loot the same locations as many times as you want, but that is the only repetitive content. I don't believe the game will have replayable content in the future other than revisiting the same locations for loot. Overall, a 2 out of 10 replayability value. Zompiercer has a really good foundation and a great potential in the future. All of the current systems implemented into the game works flawless, but the biggest struggle is the lack of content. Sooner or later more content will be added into the game, but my biggest concern is the fact that we have a solo developer. The development speed is not as fast as it should be for a game that relies on the story and a linear path. Most of the survival games rely on the exploration in an open world, but when the game doesn't have any exploration value, then it will never reach the true potential. Either you will be visiting the game every time a new location is added, or you will just wait until the full launch. Players knowing that they can only get 20 hours out of the game, they definitely won't recommend it further. My advice is to create a team of 5 skillful people and develop the game at a higher rate. The idea is there, the systems are there, the only thing that is missing is to create the content. Zompiercer currently made about $300,000 within a year, which is a rough estimation based on Steam sales. I don't think it's a bad idea to create that team and evolve into something greater. Most importantly, you have to find a way to justify that $20 price. That concludes my review for Zompiercer, a pretty interesting game that has so little to offer. At the current stage of the game, I cannot recommend it for the asking price. Keep your standards up and let's find the next garbage. Agree or disagree? Let me know down below. Thank you very much for watching, I appreciate that, and if you want to see the playthroughs live, make sure to follow ICOnlyBlue on YouTube and Twitch. Other than that, I'm gonna see you again on the next one. Bye!